Nicholson with the bucket. Nicholson's got 8 points.
You know, when you have the speed that Kemba Walker does, it's very tough for defenders to stay in front of you. Then you add the incredible ball handling skills. You can see why he blossomed last year.
From long range or short, the small forwards on this list have been on target for the past 10 games, leading their position in field goal percentage. Paul George on top.
And when you've got a player like him who can shoot that well, not at center, but at small forward, it gives you a remarkably dependable option every time down the floor.
That is so true, Steve. From 5 feet, 10 feet, 20 feet, his touch is really on target from any distance.
He kicks it to West. Working on Nicholson. The feed to Stevenson. Had a chance there to cut it to single digits, but it's off target. Steve, you mentioned Walker's speed and tight handle. Last season, he did a much better job of taking advantage and then finishing around the rim.
Yeah, I think in his second season, he was able to figure out how to adjust to the NBA size. And one thing he's always done well is take care of the basketball. The way he keeps it on the string, really got a rush hour type handle. Very steady with the ball in his hand and never lacks for confidence either.
Last outing for Indiana, they won that game against New Orleans.
And what that game came down to, guys, was their ability to use that three-point shot so effectively.
The work they did on the perimeter was absolutely outstanding. Way too much for that defense to be able to handle.
Pacers trail by 14. Bynum with a screen on Walker. Watson, the pass to Stevenson. Dishes it to George. Indiana moving it around. And so it looks like the Pacers will retain possession here.
Let's see the stat sheet here on Andrew Nicholson. How last month turned out for him, 4th in blocks. And in terms of rebounding, he's in the top 20 in the league. So a guy who can really take care of the boards for you.
And Steve, you said it. I mean, he ranks in the top 5 in blocks per game, and that puts him in his rightful place as one of the most feared defenders in the league right now.
Chris Copeland's checked in for David West. 5 on the clock. And a foul called on the shot. Got him on the way up that time, so he'll shoot 2 right here.
Well, it's not often you find a player like Paul George who, as tall as he is, can play 2 guard. But when you do, you're going to see some really big numbers in rebounding from him. And that's what George does. He wants to average double-digit rebounds.
That free throw good from George. And Clark, you mentioned the height of Paul George. 6'8" when he was drafted. He actually grew to 6'10" in his rookie season, Steve. So he's a young guy that's continuing to grow both on the floor and physically.
Yeah, he may be 7'2" by his 4th year. I'll tell you, though, he gives you powerful with size and rebounding with guard skills. It's easy to see why the Pacers are so excited about it.
Does he remind you of anybody in particular?
A little bit like Scottie Pippen, early in his career. Maybe not quite as strong as Scottie, but a similar skill set.
Interesting. Here's Sloan. Pass to Johnson. Bynum sets a screen for Johnson. And once again off the mark by Indiana.
And that'll increase their rebound advantage. They've definitely been winning that battle on the board.
Well, the main thing is they haven't allowed many second chance opportunities. That is always going to allow you to maintain your lead.
The Bobcats, one of the worst teams in the league over the last couple of seasons, actually had the worst winning percentage ever back in 11-12. But they've made a commitment to rebuilding through the draft, and clearly when you do that, there's going to be some pain along the way.
David West, he's checked in for Indiana. Lance Stevenson comes in for George. And so Zeller nails both of them. And back to the Bobcats. Steve, do you see a light at the end of the tunnel for them?
Well, I don't know. We'll see. They brought in a new coach in Steve Clifford, who's well regarded. They signed Al Jefferson. So I think they're going to be better. I think they'll win more games. But they're still a ways away from being a playoff team. They've got to continue to build this roster, be patient, and try to put themselves in position to win.
Bobcats leading by 12. To the middle. It's tipped. Kid Gilchrist defended by Sloan. And Walker kicks to Zeller. Good D by Johnson. Passes it to West. Shot from 12. Tries again. Johnson. Good.
That's some tenacity inside, battling for the second chance points.
Charlotte calls timeout.
And I think he believes that if he takes some time here to kind of talk things over, it'll be well served for this club.
And, you know, maybe this gives him an opportunity to toy around with some of their game plan while he has their attention during this break in the action.
The Pacers making a change here. George is checked in.
The three-point shot has been a real weapon for them in the second half.
Yeah, they sure have gotten hot from out there.
Stevenson with it. Now guarded by Henderson. Stevenson dishes to Copeland. Kept alive by Indiana. Johnson down low, defended by Kid Gilchrist. And Copeland kicks to George. There's the dish to Copeland. Johnson. The pass to West. Biombo on him. Goes back up. Misses off the left eye.
I think the game plan needs to change here, guys, if they're going to get out of the hole, because he is not helping their offense.
Henderson off the pick from Biombo. Henderson passes to Biombo. Henderson dishes to Walker. They get it back. Kicks it to Henderson. Gives him the lead pass. And out of bounds as the Pacers gain possession.
Where was he going with that pass? I mean, that's just an awful turnover.
Andrew Bynum's checked in for Chris Copeland. Pacers trail by 13. Now George. 6 points for him. Henderson pulls it in. He feeds it to Walker. Misses from close range. And here's Stevenson. Here's George. And the rejection by Zeller. And that'll be Indiana as it goes out of bounds. Pacers retain possession. Five seconds left to play in the third. George, that's a two-pointer. And released it in time, but it's off the mark. And as we end the third quarter, a double-digit deficit will make it tough to come back. Bobcats out in front. They lead by 13.
It's a special New Year's Eve NBA celebration. Evan Turner and the Philadelphia 76ers.
Welcome back as we get ready to start the fourth quarter. Not exactly a nail-biter here, but you never know. And now we'll get a perspective here on the hustle game, how it's been going for the Bobcats.
Contested shots and block shots. They're bread and butter defensively. They're giving up no easy looks.
The other thing they're doing, guys, is forcing turnovers and then creating points offensively as a result.
And a look at the five for the Pacers to start the fourth quarter. They've got Paul George, Scola out there with Andrew Bynum. That's Lance Stevenson, and it's Butler in at shooting guard.
You gotta love the low post offense. That was beautiful.
Now here's Stevenson. And Gordon over to help. Butler kicks to George. Indiana moving it around. Lets it go. Bynum, no good.
That was not pretty there. You got to make that one, but maybe that's not his range.
Tipped. Here's George. They really want to find that igniter here.
Yeah, that's right. Kevin, the offense has basically been running in.
They got to get going. And here's a look at what's coming up for the Bobcats. The Oklahoma City Thunder will be in town for the next one. They'll find themselves in the middle of this string of 3 straight at home.
Yeah, no question for the Thunder. That's a game they'd really like to have.